guten Morgen. Ich melde mich aus Stockholm. Hier ist es 9 Uhr in der Früh. Mein Name ist Martin Jatz. I switch into English. This webinar will be broadcast in English for the benefit of those who don't speak either Finnish or German. So welcome, 9 o'clock here in Stockholm. As I said, I'm the Austrian Trade Commissioner for the Nordic countries. Martin Jatz is my name. Very happy to host this webinar together with Peter Sund. Good morning, Peter. You are joining us from Helsinki, aren't you?
Yes, I am. And good morning. Good morning to you and to everyone on the call.
Peter is from the Finnish Information Security Cluster and has been very helpful in putting all those speakers together, which we are going to present shortly before it is each speaker's turn. This webinar is a live event, so I beg you to bear with us if things go wrong. There might be intrusions, there might be noises, construction noises, or any other noises interfering, but we have prepared everything quite well, so I'm very confident that this webinar will run smoothly. I also want to tell you that the PowerPoint presentations, which are going to be shown, will also be sent to the participants. The webinar is also recorded and will be made available on our YouTube channel for you. If you have questions as to each speaker, please post them into the chat function of this webinar. There is a chat function, it's a window which you can use. So you have to ask questions in writing. We will collect the questions and then ask them collectively at the end of the webinar after all the speakers have had their turn. So without much further ado, I would like to ask the first speaker, Stephanie Jacobi, to maybe introduce herself in more detail. I can only say that Stephanie is in charge of account management, community management, and strategic partnership management at SBA Research. SBA Research, and I'm sure Stephanie will elaborate a bit more in detail, is the largest research center in Austria dedicated exclusively to information security. There's also one thing I want to mention, which I think is very exciting. She's also a founding member of Women for Cyber, the Austrian chapter of this initiative, which was only established, I think, Stephanie, a couple of weeks ago. So something very recent, and thank you for joining this effort from the very beginning. Stephanie, we can't wait for your presentation. Please, the turn is yours.
Okay, so coming back in a similar manner to as we started with the Austrian side, a brief introduction to the cybersecurity market and the activities here in Finland. First of all, I guess it comes as no surprise to anyone on this webinar that also Finland is one could maybe say suffering from a climate change that is not only the climate change of our planet in terms of temperatures and so on, but also in digital domain. And what I refer to is actually the cyber climate change that has been ongoing for quite some time already, and very similarly to the actual climate change or the non-cyber climate change. Policymakers, partially also companies, have had difficulties in sort of realizing, accepting, and endorsing this fact, and many actors have been more or less forced to sort of join reluctantly to the factual situation where our freedom and our security in the digital domain has been decreasing for a long time, and this also occurs in Finland similarly. In Finland, we have this public service called cyber weather that we call, and it kind of nicely represents the facts that we talk about the weather quite a lot, without realizing that the weather and the climate are not the same thing, and that we should understand that there is an underlying cyber climate change ongoing, and hence our member organizations and companies are working hard to contribute to the improvement of this situation and making the digital world actually better and somehow reversing the development as it has, or the decline as it has been. So very briefly on what sort of makes the Finnish ecosystem and what makes us in terms of looking at our strengths and our social construction overall, is that Finland, I guess, is quite well known for its stability, security, and safety and predictability. We are the most stable country for many years in the world already. For example, also public security and safety are at very high level, and people seem to be also happiest in the world. Of course, for us Finns, it also seems a bit surprising, and at least myself, I have been quite often wondering that what are the reasons why we are so happy, that is it really so, or do we content for less, and that may be one of the contributing factors. But anyway, our education system is quite strong, world renowned, which of course contributes to the overall competencies and also risk taking in terms of business opportunities. We have very comprehensive ICT industry and service sector. There is a lot of orientation towards innovation, generally speaking. However, even though it seems that we innovate quite a lot, we are not maybe the best salespersons compared to many other cultures. We are not so maybe outspoken or outgoing in that sense, and we sometimes forget that others may not know what would we know, and it may require a little bit more effort to sort of bring the advantages out of whatever solutions we have. Also, advanced research and development landscape is quite rather strong. And one issue that when we talk about cybersecurity, as we all know, is an all-encompassing horizontal issue. The collaboration between public and private sector is really strong here and creates a positive not only atmosphere but possibilities to find ways where common efforts can make significant improvement compared to the sort of siloed effect and so on. Also, our regulation is rather balanced, especially in terms of protecting privacy and for example, company IPR and our regulation is not intrusive in the sense that businesses would have to worry that government entities would be somehow accessing private data and so on. Very briefly, if we look at the cybersecurity industry in particular, There are the market size is roughly the ICT sector all over is around 15 billion euros, and the cyber industry is 1.3 billion, which is quite positive, one could say, compared to our market size. If as it may be very familiar to many that we only have the population in around 5.5 million people, and for example, compared to much bigger European countries like Spain, our market size is maybe even bigger than Spain, for example. Then if we look at the personnel, we have roughly 70,000 ICT professionals in Finland, and out of which roughly 10,000 are cybersecurity specialists. But we also, like anyone else, we also suffer from lack of talent and competent workforce. But nevertheless, the general benefits, and also, for example, the community here is very vibrant, and we're looking for growth and business opportunities all the time. Also expert-wise and international growth-wise. There are plenty of strengths, be it critical infrastructure protection, integrity of financial data, identity management, industry solutions, IoT, protection of health data, defense and security, I mean national defense and national security, threat detection and prevention, and also telecoms and mobile security. So this is a very brief and rough glance to the market conditions here in Finland. So I will hand back to Mr. Martin, and hopefully we will get the Austrian side back online with us. Thank you.
Super. Well, thank you so much, Peter, for giving us an overview of the Finnish cybersecurity ecosystem. We're happy to have Stephanie back now, but we're missing your co-speaker, Stephanie. What has happened to him or her?
Yeah, that was an example how working with a baby doesn't work at all. So I found a solution and brought him to the grandma.
Super.
So thank you for stepping in before. So let's start again. I want to give you a short overview about the Austrian cybersecurity ecosystem. As I said before, I work at SBA Research. We are a research center mainly focusing on cybersecurity and information security, and we are also currently in building a cybersecurity research cluster in Vienna together with universities. So I want to give you an overview about the education, because I think education it's very important, because we all, as we heard before, there's a massive lack of talent and people, so we have to deal with that topic. Then I give you a short overview about research, where a colleague of mine is going to give you a more detailed overview or insight, and then the business and also associations and platforms for exchanging knowledge and working together. So the education part, so we have, I think that's a little bit unique. We have some schools, these technical colleges, where you can start with 14 to 19, and you get a technical education there. And there are some about 4 or 5 in Austria, which are having a focus on cybersecurity. And we see that the cybersecurity challenge, that they're very, very good. And all the companies want to get people from there as employees, and it works quite fine. We have that in different technical fields as well. and also gladly with a security focus. Which is new when we started left, it's digital skills. It's new in Austria. It started this year, and it's required lesson a week for kids from 10 to 14. And security is in there a little bit, but the security community tries to get more security awareness in there. So they start with a good security awareness base, know some parts of security, and maybe then like switch to the technical college and not going the typical education way. So we are working on that here. Then we have, of course, applied universities where you can finish with a bachelor and a master's, and they do have a security master's and bachelor's. Then we have the technical universities and regular universities, which don't have a specific security master or bachelor degree, but they do have like a focus when it comes to informatics. They have some security focus, where you can get your knowledge. Of course, regular trainings and certifications for training, upskilling during your job or already during your studies in cyber range. And what we're also very proud about is the Cyber Security Challenge, which took place this year the 10th time. And there, young talents can like challenge themselves. And then there's a final. I think Finland, there was the European Cybersecurity Challenge in Austria this year, and Finland was there, I think, the first time with their team. So it's giving kids and students like a community when they're interested in security, but they don't attend a technical college. They find a peer group there to exchange knowledge and play CTFs, for example. And it's not only the challenge, it's also the training. So there's a chance to get additional training, train together, and then hopefully start a security study. Short overview about the universities. There's a link to each university there, so you can go through that afterwards when the slides are shared. So you see we have two technical universities in Austria, 4 universities, and these are only universities which have some kind of cybersecurity research, education, or focus. And as you can see, there are a lot of applied universities there. And as I said before, only at the applied universities you can get a master's or a bachelor degree for cybersecurity or information security. So these are very, very important for all the talents and experts we definitely need. So come to the next part, research and applied research. There's of course fundamental research, which is mainly done at universities, not all of it, but mainly it's there, like probably in Finland as well. And then coming to the applied side, we do have 4 applied research centers in Austria. So SBA is not the only one, but we are the only one which are only dealing with cybersecurity. Like my colleague is afterwards talking about as well about the applied research side. And the applied universities, of course, also doing research at the more applied side. And because it was a topic before, what we are we can get better in, we are very good in research and finding new solutions for cybersecurity or cybersecurity solutions, but there's a little bit of, we can do better with getting the research into real like products and then putting them on the market. There's a great potential there. Then we have, of course, the business and services and tools. So there are a lot of companies, SMEs, who are offering services around information security, consulting, auditing, pen testing, incident response, and stuff like that. And there are also some nice companies who have security solutions. So it's, for example, I just picked a couple of them, and there are a lot more. These are the three which came to my mind at the first sight. It's, for example, it's ESEC. They do have a security awareness tool in 3D where you can walk through a city and then see, or I think there are some explanations where you have to be aware where are some potential risks and how to behave. Then there's Nimosec. They do have a website scanning tool where you can see how, if your websites are kind of, or if they're vulnerable to the outside, but they don't scan it. It's just a one-page visit. And of course, if you have a framework where you have a version on your website which is quite old, it doesn't have to in the header. You should check it, but it doesn't have to be that. You just get an overview and a feeling how your company looks to the outside. And then we have Krisam. It's a risk management tool which is quite often used from SMEs in Austria. And the last and maybe most interesting one is that we have since I think 2 years now, the Cyber Trust label. It was developed by Nimosec, and which comes afterwards, an association, and their companies can get with different levels Cyber Trust. They can apply or get a Cyber Trust label, and it should help a little bit with the supply chain and getting to know how secure your things are. Sorry, your suppliers are. Sorry, I'm still a little bit sick. And I think what's also interesting is national associations, so the security community in Austria. Let's start with the first one, the Cyber Security Platform. It's the companies and also the public sector and critical infrastructure work together quite nicely. It's always meets twice a year, and it's very interesting because you get a lot of information about what's going on in Europe and other countries there. For example, when it comes to NIS2 and stuff like that. Then we have the CSA, the Cybersecurity Austria, which they're doing the Cyber Security Challenge, and their focus is the education part. So they're also educating teachers, doing cost-free trainings for teachers so they can go into the classrooms and talk to the kids about security awareness, but also I think they did a course for ethical hacking. So a lot of knowledge transfer there for the younger generation. And KSÖ, Competence Center for Secure Austria, it's also a bridge between business and the public sector. And you probably also have the National Cybersecurity Coordination Center, which is currently built up. And then we have some Austria chapters from international associations like IC2, ISACA, and Women for Cyber, which was mentioned before. And that's from my side. Thank you for your time, and sorry for the rough beginning.
That's right. Thanks a lot, Stephanie, for this overview of the Austrian cybersecurity ecosystem. For those who have just joined us, please do ask questions. You have to do that in writing by posting your questions into the chat window of this application. The questions will be answered at the end of this webinar. So please make use of this possibility. Stephanie has talked a lot about education in cybersecurity. So I'm very happy that one representative from the education sector is joining us, Klaus Gebeshuber. Klaus is a professor for IT security at the Fachhochschule Joanneum University of Applied Sciences. Klaus has a background in electrical engineering and computer technologies, holding a doctor's degree from the Technical University of Vienna. So I think, Klaus, you will go into more detail, introduce exactly what you are doing in your field. The floor is yours.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much and good morning from my side. I want to talk about cybersecurity applied research at our university, FH Joanneum. We are a University of Applied Sciences in Styria, and some words about me. As Mr. Gratz already told, I studied electronic engineering in Vienna and have been working about 15 years in the area of industrial software development. And now since 8 years, I've been working at the university as a full-time professor for IT security. And my work is divided in teaching and working in projects, in research projects. When I teach the network topic, network security, and in the security, the ethical hacking, and also some offensive stuff like advanced system exploitation, for example. Research activities are mainly in the focus of security analysis, penetration testing, bug hunting, zero-day hunting, all the interesting stuff, I would say, in security. I wrote 2 books about this topic. So that's me. At our university, we have a security master's degree, IT and mobile security. It is a part-time master. That means that our students can work in parallel. So our study times are Thursday evening, Friday afternoon, and Saturday. And it's a technical security master. Here you can see the main topics. So one focus is on secure software development and design. Then, of course, the security basics, cryptography, database security, network security, and the security analysis part, ethical hacking, security testing, and of course the topic secure server environment, high availability, cloud computing, and cloud security. So this is the focus of our master's degree, and here we have some example of master thesis from our students, and we have very interesting topics. For example, hardcore topic, Linux heap exploitation. So this is on a very detailed level, up to car hacking and so on. So very interesting topics, and our students have really good jobs in the industry. Stephanie has already told you about the Austrian Cybersecurity Challenge. We are very active in this area with our students. So we have a lot of winning students here, and in this Cybersecurity Challenge, not just students can join, also the old ones like me. So if you are older than 25 years, you are an old guy in the security and can also join the competition. And this year we won the 2nd place. So this was the 2nd place of the challenge with me and 2 colleagues of mine. It's very interesting joining the competition, and I really like this. Okay. Applied research. So we work on funded projects. We have some examples from the aviation industry. For example, one project was the ASUS Aviation Cybersecurity Study. It was a very interesting project where we tried to attack the in-flight entertainment system or systems of modern or current aeroplanes. And we also could try to stress network infrastructure used in airplanes. Another project, ATMSec, it was a research project where we where we tried to research about the impact of a non-NIS NIS relevant system connected to a NIS relevant system. Yeah, and currently we are working on a project called Cybersecurity, where we work on the security of a digital data link, from communicating from air to ground and ground to air with airplanes. Some projects in the aviation sector. Of course, we have other projects. Some of EU level. Encrypt was a project to increase the cybersecurity knowledge of SMEs by providing training material. So this was a project with 7 European countries working together in creating security training materials. A similar project is the Digital Innovation Hub South, so in the south area of Austria, where we provide security and IT technical knowledge for free for SMEs. And in this project, we provide trainings from basic software development, network trainings, up to penetration testing trainings. Other projects we do with the industry and not funded projects, so paid projects. We work, of course, with other projects with the industries, where we work in the software security focus, static code analysis, dynamic code analysis. We support software developers in a secure software development process. This is one focus, and the other, of course, is the penetration testing, red team assessment focus, mainly in the IT and OT environment, so really in the industrial environment. And if the technical solutions are safe, we try to attack persons, of course. So we do phishing tests and also social engineering tests. Yeah, that's our project overview. Here I have a slide with some infrastructure at our university. We have a security lab. We built, for example, a high performance password cracker. This is a very loud machine if you start this machine, but we use this password cracker during penetration tests to crack passwords when we were able to collect password hashes from a network, for example. This is a very powerful machine. And on the bottom left side, you can see this is a ICS honeypot, a honeypot for industrial control systems, where we have installed some PLCs, industrial control system PLCs, connected to the internet, where we try to catch attackers against ICS systems. Yes, so this was my part. I was too fast, but this was my part. Maybe we can discuss later. So thank you very much.
Super. Well, thank you. Thank you, Klaus. I want to thank all the speakers for their discipline. We are doing quite well time-wise. And as I mentioned before, please do ask questions, post your questions in writing into the chat function. We will, at the end, have an opportunity to answer your questions. This round table has one main aim, and this is to bring Austrian and Finnish experts together to instigate the exchange between cyber security experts on both sides. So as you probably have seen already, we are trying to alternate Finnish and Austrian speakers. So it's my pleasure now to introduce Petri Puhakainen. Petri holds a doctor's degree in information systems security. He is the lead of the cyber security chapter of VTT of the Technical Research Center of Finland. The leading research center in Finland has been around for, I think, 80 years, so really a very long established organization with a lot of knowledge. Also, and this is Petri's domain in cyber security. Petri, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Martin. First, briefly about my organization, or maybe first about a bit of myself. Yes, as Martin told, I hold a PhD in information processing science. I've been working on ICT since late 80s and in information security from the late 90s. So I'm maybe getting quite old now. As told, I work at VTT, which is a long ago established research institute. We are kind of a institute working in the area of applied research. So we also do some basic research, and we also have some direct customer projects. But basically, most of the money is coming from government, and then from both paid and funded projects. We are totally government owned, and basically at this point in everything we do, we have a strategic focus on sustainability, even in the field of cybersecurity. A few words about our cybersecurity solutions. Basically, we are focusing on the current cybersecurity challenges, which are basically mainly related to complex interconnected systems, and also related much of the current way of doing business. So businesses have long supply chains, and then there are a lot of interdependencies between companies, between different organizations, and also in that way between different industry fields and even with different countries. So basically, we are not alone in the world anymore, and our cybersecurity is and our resilience is strongly dependent on other companies, other organizations, other countries, and other businesses. One thing about VTT, we are also looking like maybe 10, even 30 years to the future. And basically, the reason is that we also must focus on the rising novel threats and also opportunities that are on their way. And one thing is quantum technology. And regarding that, actually, we are one of the first institutes in Europe having our own quantum computer, and another one is on its way. So basically, we are also doing research on areas that are really new and basically more or less heading to the future. From the viewpoint of cybersecurity, actually, what makes us worried a bit about is that maybe it seems that quantum technology is going to put danger or our current ways of encrypting data. So basically, we need to focus on that, and we need to try to find quantum resilient solutions also in the field of cybersecurity. Advanced persistent threats. So basically, if allowed, I should say that from viewpoint of Finland, they are currently Russia and China. I used to work at the Prime Minister's office before I joined VTT, and basically those were the two countries that are the most active, or were the most active in the edge of our network. And basically also VTT is focusing on state state-sponsored attacks and state-sponsored threats. Another thing, in addition to quantum technology, is artificial intelligence and machine learning that we are actually focused on strongly. We are focusing on it both as a tool to protect our networks and systems, but also as a new target to cyber attacks. Basically, there are several new ways, intelligent ways to attack artificial intelligence, and basically we need to focus on those, and the research, the current research is focusing on those. And the third thing we are focusing on is definitely human assets to enhance our security. Basically, at the moment, most of the threats are coming into organizations through email and using phishing and spear phishing and social engineering, and especially our training, but also our research is focusing on human assets and training people against this kind of threats. Shortly about our solutions. So this means where our research, both funded and paid research, is focusing on. One thing definitely is industrial security solutions, and especially we are focusing on protecting our critical infrastructure. So like water supply, smart electric grids, and so on. And another important area where we are focusing on is device and service security. This is of course strongly related to IoT and OT security. But for example, we are having an isolated cyber range, an isolated network where we can test and analyze and do also research regarding different kind of devices and service, IT services. So that's and that cyber range is also a place where we are training our customers. So when you are able to do real-time testing and real-time attacks, you also learn very efficiently how to be secured against these kind of attacks. So basically our training focus is a lot of around that cyber range. I was earlier talking about these new technologies that are coming in. So basically quantum computers and actually the rise of those computers are threatening our current cryptographic solutions. So basically we are having one group of researchers that are strongly focusing on cyber resilient technologies and cyber resilient cryptography. And we have also adopting a role that we try to increase the awareness of new threats that are actually coming along the rise of quantum computers. But not only the threats, also possibilities. But basically, that is quite a new thing, at least in Finland. So the awareness regarding quantum computers and especially the new threats that are coming with them is not very high at the moment, and so that's the reason why we are adopting a role in increasing awareness regarding quantum computer and the new threats that are coming along them. Basically, that was all I was about to say about VTT and our research. So thank you all.
Super. Well, thank you, Petri. Very, very interesting also to touch on most recent technologies. Building on 80 years of experience, of course, VTT has a lot to offer as a research institute. So we've talked about research institutes. We've had the focus on education and training. What is also quite important in this environment is the role of the, if we call it the business sector. There are many companies offering services, training, also in the field of cybersecurity. I'm very happy to give the floor now to Robert Haskovici. Robert is the founder and CEO of TCSS. TCSS stands for Trusted Cyber Security Solutions, and Robert will tell us now in more detail what that is, what his company is offering in terms of services in the field of cyber security and minimizing threats for companies, for customers. Robert, the floor is yours.
Good morning. My name is Robert Haskovici. I'm the CEO of TCSS, and I will present you now shortly what we are doing. We are present mainly in the DACH region. That means Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and covering there more or less all industries. So we are a very highly specialized cybersecurity company. We are trying to have a holistic approach. That means we're trying to start with, let's say, from the software which we are using to the testing of the infrastructure of the companies and the operational capabilities. We are mainly cooperating with the Israeli cybersecurity industry and the European ones, and combining the both. So we are some kind of integration company trying to take the best solutions from all sides and implementing them for our customers. If you see our focus areas, you see that we are starting with the secure software development, which is a very important step, which is many times not taken in consideration. That means for most of the companies which have own software development, we are taking care that during the coding, the software itself is already cybersecurity tested, and all loopholes and points of defense are tested, so that at the end of the day, the software is in a situation that when it is implemented, must be not double-checked again. Then going out from that, we are doing all kind of services from pen testing and taking care for integration of OT, IoT, and IT. That means we have one of the very few SOCs taking care of all of them. That means we are securing 24/7 the IT operations and the OT operations, and aligning them, which is very important, mainly for our industries. So all of the three countries, Switzerland, Austria, and Germany, are very highly industrialized, and the SCADA systems and the industry is getting more and more attention from the attacker side. So this is one important point. And what we are doing too, apart from the classical incident response and other services, we are taking care that we are supplying threat intelligence. That means deep diving in the darknet and in the hacker groups, so that we are not only in a defensive position when we are attacked already, but taking care to be always a step ahead. That means trying to understand what's going on around us and eventually be prepared for coming attacks. So the code securing, which we have now on this picture, is starting with the development. That means during the coding, the design, and the building up, it's constantly tested and cross-tested. So call it code bashing. And then when it's deployed, we operate and monitor it constantly. So we try to minimize the risk, and it's combined with cloud security and build up local security. So the main focus centers which we are having in our companies is the SOC, followed by the pen testing, cyber threat intelligence, and OT security, which is one of our strong fields and expertise, as we have in our team several people coming from the industry, cement, steel, gas and oil, and critical infrastructure. So we have a lot of experience in that field, and we are trying to connect that with our cybersecurity capabilities. Then you have the whole range of additional services and products, which I don't want to mention all. The main thing is that we have divided that on the, let's say, state actors, which like police, intelligence services, military, and then the civil sector, where we are doing the classical IT security, starting the managed services, which are getting a strong and stronger point because of the lack of staff in the companies. We are even doing sometimes CISO as a service. That means we're taking over the cybersecurity of the different customers till they get the right staff and team members which can operate that. We are doing a lot of trainings, so we're training the staff and the teams, and going over then to practical attacks and trying to test and evaluate that. So you see here in let's say short slide in a few words the services and products which are again divided in managed services, in consulting and solutions. As I told before, it's like a holistic approach. So we are trying to consult the customers, trying to assess the situation, and then adapt to the requirements and the needs of the individual customer and operate that accordingly. You see here everything what today is let's say important in the cybersecurity market, from SOC as a service, incident response, red team, pen testing, forensic, SOC and SIEM optimization, CTI dark and deep web monitoring, etc. So the market segments we are covering are industry, trade, high-tech, finance, public, critical infrastructure, and we have already acquired few good reference in that all those sectors, and we are running service with them several years and trying, let's say, to adapt all the time to the new situations and the changing environment, which is typical for the cybersecurity environment. So as already told, we have, let's say, this holistic 5-step approach. So identify the individual situation of the customer, protect, detect, and respond. And in the worst case, that means in an attack situation, recover as fast as possible and try to reduce the possible damage. We have a large cooperation with different sectors of incubators, universities, the military, the security services, and improving together solutions and applying them. So that's only a short selection of different partners we have from the industry, where we are always trying to be focused and a step ahead. So we have a lot of solutions which sometimes are really on the spearhead of the market. So our added value for our customers are that we have many years of experience in cybersecurity. So we are a very practical company. So we are not, let's say, taking care too much about theoretical situations, but on real-world scenarios, on active situations and incidents, and that's our expertise. So that's our team. You see my other partners are coming from the software industry or from very large corporates in Austria. So OMV, for example, is the biggest oil and gas producer we have. Then we have ÖBB, which is our national train operator, and so on. So we have an office in Vienna and Austria. And with that, I want to close my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. So Robert gave us I think, very impressive overview of what companies can offer in terms of cybersecurity services. Was very happy now to meet again Apo Sedaberg, the CEO and founder of Cyberwatch Finland. Apo, I met a couple of months ago, I think, and still remember your very exciting presentation in a new setting of a spy thriller. And I was there with a group of Austrian IT consultants in Helsinki, and we were left very impressed, Apo. It's good to have you back here, and I would like to ask you now to give an overview of what your company, Cyberwatch Finland, has to offer, what the targets of your services are, and give us a bit of an insight of your expertise. Apo, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me again. So it's a great pleasure to be with you again. And of course, Austria is dear to my heart because I have lived 4 years in Vienna as a military advisor at the Finnish-Austrian delegation. So my family and myself, we had wonderful time in Vienna and good memories from Austria as a friendly country. But okay, I try to get my briefing. I asked the organizers to put it on because I sent it to you. So okay. Okay, thank you very much. And I thought I start with the cyber war in Ukraine. What does it mean? So actually for Finland, this is a very decisive issue at the moment, and we say that the cyber world is borderless, but at the same time we understand that the Russian actions they are targeted to different countries, and cyber war is not in Ukraine, it's in Europe, and that actually makes that we have to rethink the cybersecurity response of every country and every company. And this picture just illustrates the old sausage theory. If there's a pressure in the middle, then something comes out from the both ends. And this is actually to say that we don't have to mislead our cyber preparedness, because the conventional war in Ukraine is Russians are doing badly and they are going to lose the war. But at the same time, it means that there will be more pressure on cyberspace and cyber attacks and to other countries who are supporting Ukraine at the moment. And this is the challenge we are facing next winter. And this is where Cyberwatch Finland is helping our clients to rise their preparedness and find new ways of prevent cyber attacks for their targets. And this is based on the idea that Finland is famous with comprehensive security approach. So we have divided the vital functions we have 7 vital functions of the society. And now when we have been analyzing what is happening in Ukraine, actually both the cyber capacity and the conventional war capacity have been targeted to those functions in Ukraine. The leadership, how to impact the political decision making, how to try to blur and the international cooperation, how to have impact to the military cyber capacity, how to have influence to internal security, how to have impacts in the economy and the living conditions of the people. And the main goal is the psychological resilience. So trying to create uncertainty to the countries where they are targeting. And this is part, and our analysis, we are doing a weekly report to our customers and monthly report and helping them to understand how the Russians are using the hybrid warfare concept. And the hybrid warfare is going on all the time. It's not just the war going on in Ukraine, but this is how the Russians are actually attacking all the European countries and also at the global level. And this is the understanding what we have to be able to create to the state leadership, but also at the company leadership, because it's a fact that the main target is the critical infra. If we are looking what is happening in Ukraine, the bombardment and the artillery, and it's targeted to the critical infra, like yesterday we witnessed it. And before the war, the Russians tried to collapse the critical infra with cyber capacities. They couldn't do it because the resilience and cybersecurity level of Ukraine was raised and built up all the time after the Crimean operation. But anyway, in Finnish system, it means that the private-public partnership is key to success in cybersecurity, because the government is not able, they have the responsibility to protect the critical infra, but then the practical actions must be taken by the companies. So we have to be able to raise the level of the critical companies who are providing the services and running the critical infra in Finland. And that's our main task, to try to help them to do it. And I always say that we have to take the control back, like Prime Minister Johnson said in the different regards. But in this regard, it means that our company is offering those services to build the leadership. If the company leadership and if the governmental leadership don't understand they need to be successful in prevention and preparedness, then they will fail. And first thing is the situation awareness. So we have created and we with the universities created new AI-based analyzing tools. So we are able to have agile analysis and threat assessment for all our clients. Other thing is that you must have to be able to be agile and constantly assess the risk, which is not just something that you are looking at the annual basis. You have to be looking at the weekly and daily basis in order to be able to be ready and not to fail in the trap of the surprises. Then people are the most important thing. I don't go all of them through, but training is the key to success. Most of the cyber attacks go through because of the humans. So humans are at the same time, they are sensors and they are the capacity of the organizations. That's why we are running 5 cyber master courses for our clients, so that they are building based on the functions in the company, cyber resilience in the company. At the same time, they take part of our course and they do both the practical and theoretical thing at the same time, and then they can get at the end after 1.5 years cyber master degree. So this is a new way of thinking. So the old methods are not enough. Most of the companies, they have the SOC service, but that doesn't really help because it's a good thing and definitely it's a must. But then you need some additional capacities. And what are the additional capacities? This is something where we have paid a lot of attention, how to forecast, how to create the prevention, how to help to prepare and fix the right things. That's why our dark SOC service, as we call it, is looking what is happening in the dark and deep web. Why this is of utmost importance at the moment? Because both the the Russians and Chinese, they are working together with the APT groups, the best cyber criminal groups in the world, and they are actually sharing information, and they are having discussions on dark and deep web. So if you want to have cyber intel without having a view to the dark and deep web, and without knowing what does the early warning signals there mean to your company, you are not able to be successful in the long run. That's why we have a new service which is actually our main product at the moment, because of the security situation that we are facing. So this is of course something, and when something happens, of course, then there's an attribution, and then you can see the maturity level of your company. And actually, I say this is also a quality control when we are looking at the maturity of the company, and then we fix the vulnerabilities they are having, then we can see if it's helping or not. So it is also, you can save money if you do and build your cybersecurity in the right way. If your roadmap is adequate and you are looking to the right points. And this is also a comprehensive situation awareness issue. So everyone can analyze what is happening in open source. Everyone can look the insider in the company. Everyone can look how the business environment of the companies, what is the cyber impact. But then you have to be able to look it comprehensively, and there also how much the criminals are having information on how they are behaving, how they are preparing. Then you have the right understanding, and this is crucial for the cyber risk assessment. So it's not just something you do once. So our service is based on, we start with the client and define on what level they want to be. If everything is okay, we have had only one company which didn't have any, it's just a Swiss company which didn't have any problems, but normally there are some problems which have to be fixed, and then you can fix the things, and then you can have a monitoring and look what is happening, or if everything can be fixed, then you just time to time you check up that your level of cybersecurity is at adequate level. And our reporting for our customers is very simple. It's the light. The red ones, it needs immediate action. So the information we are collecting from the dark stock service can be categorized, and it is categorized together with our partner Cyber Intelligence House, who is actually the one who is digging and having the best capacity to get the information. And then we made recommendations to the company leadership, and then those things can be fixed. What is yellow, then it means that you have to start considering how you fix this vulnerability or this shortfall which you are having. So this is, I speak about the smart cybersecurity. So, and as I said, the situation in Finland and in Europe, it's not, this is not going to be over when the war is ending, but the cyber war will be going on. And actually, we are having first time in the history of mankind cyber war going on somewhere. It's partly happening in Ukraine, but the strategic part is part of the hybrid warfare, and it's happening in every European country. That's why we had to be alerted, and that's why we had to take heads up and be prepared for the new situation. And it means in practical terms the security culture we are having. So the old methods are not anymore enough. We have to be smart and find the new methods. And cybersecurity is part of the security culture in a country, in an organization, and there we can guide and help you to find the most cost-effective solutions. I thank you here and happy to answer any questions.
Super. Well, thank you very much, Arthur. I also have here your magazine. I picked it up when we visited you a couple of weeks ago. Still, I think very useful. I read through it. You're touching here in this latest edition on the issue of cyber security and clean water. So very interesting insights, worth reading. I picked it up. I have the other editions also here and gave me a lot of
that's part of our endeavors to try to simplify things. So
Exactly.
so the clean water is a good example how you have to look cybersecurity.
Absolutely. So it's simple enough for me to understand. Thanks a lot for doing that. All right. Thank you, Apple. Good to see you again. The last two speakers will present technologies related to cybersecurity to make digitalization safer. I'm very happy to introduce now Vera Stein from A1 Digital International. Vera is the head of product security at A1 Digital. A1, of course, is a subsidiary of Austria's telecom provider A1. I met one of your colleagues a few weeks ago. I think you were trying to expand your services. In this case, it was cloud services, complying with European standards, also here in the Nordic countries. And I'm very much looking forward now to your presentation on A1 Digital services and technologies in the field of cybersecurity. Vera, the floor is yours.
Thank you, dear Martin. Thank you to all great speakers from my side. I'm truly grateful for the so many insights. And it was very pleasant for me to hear about cybersecurity challenge, which A1 Digital supports from the day one, and where we are very active at. So thanks again from my side. My name is Vera Steiner. I'm here to present A1 Digital as a part of A1 Telecom Group. And as Martin said, as a head of product security, I'm happy to share with you our view on the challenges in the security and the cybersecurity today and how we handle them for our customers. So, yes, from our point of view, the major trend today is the global constant rising interconnectivity. We live today in the so-called VUCA world, which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And these four qualities have the direct impact on all security, cybersecurity related issues for us. With other words, it's like having to keep all doors open when you actually want to close them tightly. So the major challenge in IT today is to support this increasing interconnectivity of systems with reliable networks while guarantee the necessary level of security. And so what we are doing here, we help our customers to understand their needs and to transform them to the transparent, reliable, and secure solutions. We see as our mission to create a network and security environment that reflects the individual needs of our customers, and we use their modern technologies. And how do we do this? As I said, when I started with our view on the increasing interconnectivity in this world, we have therefore two main focuses in our portfolio, and the first one is, of course, the network. From my point of view, we live in our world today. You cannot really separate the network issues and the security issues anymore. So the first focus from in our portfolio is network as a service or SASE managed service, security access service edge. And here we are covering the whole end-to-end way of solutions, from SD-WAN to secure web gateway, cloud access security broker, VPN. So very classic models which we are covering in the end-to-end way. And the second focus or block, it's all about identification of threats and managing of them, of these threats. And here we are starting with consulting where we are addressing the problem of the customer, because everything is starting with the problem. We are offering vulnerability management, pen testing with our really top team of the trained and certified pen testers. And as a managed as a service, we are offering SOC, incident response. And in the end, it allows us this holistic view to offer to all sizes of the companies and to all industries reliable, transparent solutions, and to offer in the end the really holistic protection for the company. One important thing, keyword managed as a service. We are really focusing on managed as a service. Why? Because we understand that, and as many colleagues here said, speakers said, that cybersecurity is a trend, brand new topic, and not every company has the resources, but most of all time to build up the expertise in this field. So we are bringing our expertise, our resources, and we are allowing, in this case, to every company to build up the really customized solution or security environment that they need really for them. So I would like to end my presentation by saying that we really take care of planning, building on the operation of the cybersecurity environment for the IT, for the companies of all sizes and all industries. And I will be truly happy to and looking for the new cooperations and new product solutions in this area, and we'll be happy to be contacted from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vera, for your presentation. I also would like to remind our participants that it is still possible to post your questions into the chat function of this platform. We will, after the last speaker, have a short Q&A session. So please take advantage of this opportunity. Our last speaker also will give us an insight into a technology to minimize cyber risks. Sebastian Eckebohm, who is the Director of Commercial Operations of Jetico. Jetico offers complete endpoint data protection. Jetico has been around for quite some time. I think it's more than 25 years, Sebastian. So you probably hadn't seen the beginnings of the company, but you will tell us more about what Jetico products are about, what they can do to enhance cyber security. Sebastian, it's your turn.
Thank you, Martin. Guten Morgen, meine Damen und Herren. That's the little German I can give you. Yeah, we've had some CEOs and PhDs here, but I'm as Martin said, younger than my company at 26, and my company's now 27. So Jetico, for the better part of 25 years, we've been serving mostly the US government, but of course we do business here in Europe as well. And let me just jump in. There we go. So in this brief overview, I'm just going to be talking about our 4 product lines mostly, give a very bare bones overview about what we do and how we do it. And so I'll be going over these 4 products that you see here on the encryption side, and also on the wiping side as well. So why do we exist and what do we do? In a very layman's terms, we're there for our end users, whether that's data sensitivity on a customer basis or on a government basis or organization. That's to protect from theft, data loss, any proprietary information you may have, like I mentioned, national security, and then something that I'm sure that everyone here is very familiar with, compliance and regulations. So around the world, we try to be experts in our field of different regulations that we have. We work with Asia as well, so we try and make sure that we know what's going on in the world, and especially here in Europe, with GDPR being a very pressing issue in the last 3 to 5 years. We've been trying to crack down on that, but I'm sure you guys are very aware of those changes. So let's look a little bit at encryption. So the product line for encryption, we have 2 main products, and that's container encryption and volume encryption. And as the names suggest, volume encryption is our whole disk encryption system that works as a pre-boot authentication environment. So this is for actual physical loss of property. You know, we've had customers say that they left a laptop on the subway and they were happy to have it encrypted with Bscript, things like this. And then of course container encryption, which is a file encryption system, but doesn't work on a file level. It instead creates a container, which is kind of like a folder that's then password protected, and that gives a lot more versatility in how we can apply that, for example, with network shares and so on and so forth. So let's just jump briefly into volume encryption a little more. So like I said, this is protection from physical threats. Losing your laptop on the subway, any sensitive information you may have will be safe. In Finland, we're protected by the government from installing backdoors into our software. This is one of the leading reasons to why we are very popular in the States. Our software is used by big companies such as Boeing, and the White House has been in contact with us. The Department of Defense, whether that's the Army, Navy, or Air Force, they all use our software, and they pride themselves in finding a solution that hasn't got a backdoor. So what that means essentially is when they get their software, or when we provide them with the software, it's fully theirs, and there's no way for even us to access their information. So if a government entity wants to access information that is protected by our software, even we can't give them the key in that situation. And a lot of customers really, really like that. We focus on compliance from our end so that our customers don't have to, so they get a peace of mind on that sense. We're also, we've been around for a while, like I said, 27, 28 years. So we have a development team that focuses really hard on the latest updates for all operating systems, so we can keep up to date on those things. And then container encryption. So this is our file level encryption system. So again, OS agnostic, works Windows, Mac, Linux, and we also have an Android app. This, like I said, gives a little more flexibility for cloud shares, so you can have an encrypted container on various different cloud drives if you would like to have that, so that different people can access it, as long as everyone knows the password, and they can get into the sensitive data. I'll be getting into that BC Wipe note a little later, but Bscript container encryption comes included with a license of BC Wipe. And then central management, this is sort of for our entire portfolio of our 4 products. The Enterprise Edition gives the user a lot more flexibility in what they, or how they want to deploy the software, how they want to monitor the software, and password control. So in situations, like I said, where you forget your password and there's nothing we can do about it, we've set up a system that you yourself can try and go and find a lost password for a user if they've set themselves up in the central management system. It's also a very useful tool to deploy things out over the network. And just briefly about some semantics, the differences between a sort of a file encryption and container encryption environment is, of course, that there's a little more flexibility in how things are done. Perhaps from a usage perspective, it's more understandable that, you know, there's a safe folder, like a folder with a lock. A lot of users have said that that's easier to understand than base level file encryption. In the interest of time, I'll hop over to the data wiping side. So BC Wipe and total wipeout. So yeah, this slide, unfortunately, I didn't update this. This is 10 plus years. For more than 15 plus years, we've been used by the Department of Defense. There's probably not a single endpoint in Boeing's systems that doesn't have BC Wipe installed on it as a sort of de facto standard piece of software. This is for anything related to data remnants or data spills, what have you. BCWeb is there to cover those small little spills that might happen, or delete a file entirely, because as all of you guys probably know, deleting anything off of just an operating system level does nothing. And so BCWeb there is to cover your tracks in that sense. And total wipeout then is kind of like the surgeon with a chainsaw. When things are over, when you need to decommission, when you need to repurpose, reuse, it's there to take care of the drive on a software level. So you can repurpose the drive later, you can re-image Windows or any other operating system back onto it. This is good, obviously, for the environment, but also cost efficiency for companies to reuse their endpoints. Diving a little bit deeper into both those software, so let's talk about the chainsaw first. Total wipeout, it's available for hard drives, SSDs, SSHDs, NVMe drives. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into the different things that we can wipe later. But basically, if it stores data, we can probably wipe it. Again, it's just a pre-boot authentication tool. You plug in a USB and you go through a menu system that then allows you to wipe your entire drive, or however many drives you wish to wipe. This is obviously better than degaussing or physical destruction because of the things I mentioned before: environment, cost efficiency. You save time. Let's say you have 1,000 drives to wipe at the same time. You can use our central management system to set them all up and start wiping them. So a process that would take many companies weeks and several people hands-on work now can take a day or two, depending on the size of the drives, of course. And just a bit of our drives that we can wipe and protocols. So basically anything under the sun. On this list as well, we've added M2, which is sort of some of the newer standards as well. So like I said, when M2 arrived on the market, we were focusing very, very hard on quickly incorporating that into Total Wipeout's capabilities. And we do the same thing for whether that's a Windows 11 release or back in Windows 10 days. Those releases, we were up and running, and we were ready to all 4 of our software were ready to run on those operating systems within some days. And then wiping schemes, some of these I'm sure you're aware of, some of them not. Just basically anything that a customer requests we'll look into, but I think right now our list is past 30 different wiping schemes. Whatever you may need, if you're super paranoid, we've got the 35 pass. No one needs that. As a general rule, 3 passes is good enough, as long as they're random. 7 passes for those that need a little bit more or have compliance regulations that request that of them. And then we've got a little more time. BC Wipe, our selective wiping software. This is just for sort of wiping data remnants and select files. This is actually kind of the creme de la creme here. Our most favorite or our most sold product. Governments, personal users, what have you. This is their go-to. This is very good to also take care of your drive's long-term health. So we have something called transparent wiping and free space manager that then takes care of the health of your drive by creating small pockets of free space that the software can recognize not to wipe again. Because as you know, writing and reading and writing and reading constantly over a drive is going to lower its health and longevity in the long run. So we've got little solutions there among the base wiping capabilities to help the extend the life of the drive. And that's it. So thank you for your time. Obviously, if you have any questions, put them in the chat, like Martin said, or feel free to contact us. Thank you.
Super. Well, thank you, Sebastian. Yes, we have a couple of minutes for Q&A. May I ask all the speakers to turn their cameras on for that final round? I would like to ask one question which actually reached us and would like to ask Petri maybe to provide an answer. I think it relates to your remark on the threats stemming from quantum risks. So the participant is asking whether Finland was more on the QKD or PQC side, and what do you think of the US way of handling quantum risks? Are you ready to answer that question, Patrick?
Yes, I could try to do that. So could you repeat? Actually, I had some difficulties at the beginning of your question.
The question is Finland more on the QKD or PQC side? So, you know, QKD is quantum key distribution, QPC is post-quantum cryptography. And then the add-on question is, what do you think about the US way of handling quantum risks?
So the first part, we are on the QKD. So basically, we are actually building a test or starting to build a test network for that in early next year. Of course, depending on whether and when we will get the financing for that. But that's the way we are currently heading to. And the second part is a more complicated one. So
maybe you can do that directly then. I mean, I do really encourage all the participants to keep in touch with our speakers, with our presenters. We are happy to facilitate that communication, of course. Maybe one last question, which refers to Stephanie's presentation. Stephanie, are you around? And it refers to your company, and the question is, how does SBA and its role compare to, for example, BSI in Germany? Is SBA also providing support to SMEs if they get hacked?
BSI is a public entity, so we're not a public entity. We did some incident response, but we don't have the manpower currently to really help when you have an incident. There are other companies doing that part, and Sarah, of course, as well.
Right, thank you. There are a few more questions, of course, but as I said, it really would be nice if participants and speakers could stay in touch with each other. We are very happy again to facilitate that communication. This actually would have been also the aim, the target of this webinar. Here you have our email address, our telephone number. Please do get in touch also with us. We here in Stockholm are covering all Nordic countries. Our team in Finland and Helsinki has been instrumental in preparing this webinar, and would like to say thank you to them. So with this, I would like to also express our gratitude to the speakers. I think it was very interesting. You must be commended for being so disciplined when it came to time, because we do finish in time, although it was quite a huge amount of information for our participants. I would like to conclude the webinar, as I said, and hope to see you on the occasion of one of the other events which we're organizing in the field of cybersecurity. We had, for example, only 10 days ago, a cybersecurity roundtable, a physical cybersecurity roundtable in Vienna between Sweden and Austria, and there is certainly more to come. So I'm looking forward to seeing many of you again. And with this, I would like to say thank you and goodbye.